I don't want to throw Kenny Bayless under the bus, but you know he didn't call Caleb Plant out in any of the clinches he was doing the whole fight. You know, and I think if Kenny Bayless would have said something about the clinches, you know, maybe it would have stopped Caleb from trying to clinch, and I would have clipped him. No, le tengo mucho respeto también.
Well, you know, I didn't knock him out because Kenny Bayless didn't allow me to, really.
The holding! He's holding too much, Kenny! Kenny! You're ruining the fight! This is bullshit.
The morning after. What a fantastic night of fights, huh? And a fantastic card. And a great main event. It did not disappoint. David Benavidez, the Mexican monster. He beats Caleb Plant and Kenny Bayless over the course of 12 rounds. Look, it was a fantastic fight. It was a savage fight. If you guys were enjoying the fight, if you guys really liked the fight, and I'd like to know if you guys liked the fight in the comments below, but I know you did. If you really liked the fight between David Benavidez, the Mexican monster, and Caleb Sweet Hands Plant, then you have to thank David Benavidez. That's right. Kenny Bayless, the clinching that he was allowing without warning, David Benavidez, I know a lot of you guys are going to talk about the elbows, which I complained about, the forearms and stuff like that, pushing off. The headbutt was accidental. We saw that. Hold on, let me get my black, 2 sugars. We saw that. But if it wasn't for David Benavidez clearing out, the fight would have been boring. Caleb Plant punching, then clinching, and trying to clinch. And Kenny Bayless, no warnings. Look, I think David Benavidez shouldn't have been, you know, the elbows was getting kind of freaky, but he did get warned. A hard warning. And David Benavidez, you know, he did less of it. But then he had to really push off, because Caleb Plant didn't get any warnings for the clinching. So if David Benavidez didn't fight out of the clinch, throw savage punches while Caleb Plant was clinching to punch Caleb Plant off of him, the fight wouldn't have been the great classic fight that it was. Because Kenny Bayless, and I told you guys, I predicted this. Kenny Bayless likes a certain type of fight. And it goes in the favor of slick fighters. I told you that.
Oh, Kenny Bayless. Kenny Big Bully Bayless. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Kenny Bayless loves slick fighters. There's a lot going in Caleb Plant's way right now. So I think David Benavidez got a hill to climb. He has a hill to climb.
And I remember the days of Floyd Mayweather, and I thought it was a Floyd Mayweather thing, but really, that's the type of fight that he likes. The problem is, not every fighter is a slick fighter. Right? And I tell you this too, boxing is not a sport. You can't play boxing. At the end of the day, at its foundation, it's a fight. So for the fighters, people who are like Mayorga, Maidana, those type of guys, those like Showtime Sean Porter, those type of guys, it's no fair if they cannot impose what they do. And boxing has a lot of things to it. Hitting the hips, hitting the elbows, a lot of savage things. David Benavidez was able to do those things, because that's how you have to beat Caleb Plant. I told you guys, I predicted this. David Benavidez would have not been able to outbox Caleb Plant. He had to be a savage. And it's funny, you know, talking about my prediction, this is probably one of the most right on target predictions I ever had. When I said I saw this fight already, Hurd versus Lara. I said I saw this fight already, okay? And that's exactly how it went. Caleb Sweet Hands Plant boxing extremely well the first half, and David Benavidez fighting, and he had to fight him. And his, you know, just his pressure, his punching, the variety of punches and the punch selections, the power behind his punches, everything that he was doing, that wore down Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant was hurt bad, and I'll tell you this: a lot of people said David Benavidez doesn't have the punching power. No, you can look at his knockouts and tell, but he's right. When David Benavidez said if it wasn't for the clinching, I would have knocked him out. And I agree. Somewhere around the 10th round, I think it was, it looked like if Caleb wasn't allowed to hold for dear life, David Benavidez would have finished him. I do want to give a shout out to Caleb Sweet Hands Plant. Caleb Plant, your toughness inspired the War Room. How you're taking on all comers, right? Took on Canelo, lost. Win, lose, or draw. David Benavidez lost. Now, your career is that of, a Showtime Sean Porter-esque, taking on all challenges. We love it. We love it. All you need right now, and what I'm saying now isn't that he can't come back and he can't get back on top. He can. Showtime Sean Porter had great victories. People only talk about his losses to Kell Brook, Terrence Crawford, Elder True Spence. Those fights were actually close. People talk about those, but they don't talk about his victories, right? His loss to Keith one time, Thurman, but they don't talk about his victories over Ugas, AB, Adrian Broner, Danny Swift Garcia. They don't talk about those things. And Caleb Plant has an opportunity to take on the likes of, Jamal Charlo still out there, Boo Andre. So he can get wins from guys like that. And I would love to see Caleb Plant in the ring with those guys. Before I get into that, let's talk about, just other fights real quick and give everybody their love. Ramirez Comey, watch that fight. Ramirez was just too big for Comey, kept Comey on his back foot, knocked him out with a body shot by the 11th. We have to give love to Ramos, okay? His fight with Joey Spencer, I had a tear almost dropped my eye. It was just savage, all right? Shout out to Venezuela for defeating Chris Colbert. And the moment of the night to me, Crawley beating or fighting mental health, fighting a good fight and fighting for mental health awareness. Did you guys see that? What a moment, huh? Let me get my black two shoulders. Real quick. Let's talk about Canelo Alvarez versus David Benavidez. I know a lot of people want to talk about that. The funny thing about that is this. It's funny, right? When Canelo fought Caleb Sweet Hands Plant, Caleb Plant was considered a cherry pick for Canelo. All of a sudden, when that fight being tough, and Caleb Plant knocking out Darrell, all of a sudden Caleb Plant was the favorite, at least in this War Room, to beat David Benavidez. You guys saw the poll. 10,000 voted, 57% thought Caleb Plant was going to win. And then David Benavidez, he beats Caleb Plant, but he doesn't knock out Caleb Plant. All of a sudden, this guy, David Benavidez, who everybody thought would destroy Canelo because Canelo's afraid of David Benavidez, especially after Canelo lost to Bivol, they said, David Benavidez was definitely beat Canelo. But now that David Benavidez didn't knock out Caleb Plant, everybody think Canelo Alvarez would knock out David Benavidez. It's so funny, the yo-yo community. We can't be that. We're so microwave. With every fight, we jump up and down. Understand, the triangle theory doesn't work. Styles make fights. You got to keep all of that stuff in mind, okay? David Benavidez is the David Benavidez you know. The Mexican monster who you thought would beat Canelo. Ain't nothing changed. I ain't see a different guy out there. Actually, he was in even better shape out there. Canelo Alvarez versus David Benavidez would be an awesome fight. But I told you guys when everybody was saying Canelo was running from David Benavidez and all those things, David Benavidez wasn't experienced enough to beat Canelo Alvarez. I told you guys that. Canelo's head movement, who he's been in the ring with, his power, the way he catch and shoot, his confidence, him being a champion, all those things. Now you guys kind of see it a little bit better. But you got to give David Benavidez, you got to project. He's a better fighter now after fighting Caleb Plant. He never fought on anyone on that level, okay? And the big lights and a major event, big-time pay-per-view and all those things. David Benavidez learned something fighting Caleb Plant, so he's a better fighter than he was even last night fighting Caleb Plant. He learned something, he's going to be even better, all right? That fight happening, Canelo Alvarez fighting John Ryder, he won his revenge with Bivol. That's what's going to happen. Like I said before last night, and I've said it many times, as a boxing fan, I don't think that Canelo deserves the rematch with Bivol. Bivol beat him clean. When you beat somebody clean, right? Look, Caleb Plant deserves a rematch with David Benavidez more than Canelo deserves a rematch with Bivol. With that said, he'll be fighting Bivol. Caleb Plant, his future, he has a great future. David Benavidez, Morel, something like that. He could have him a fight, look even better, be the Mexican monster. Everybody, he needs a sensational knockout. That way, people will be high on him again. And I don't know why him fighting Caleb Plant brought his stock down. That's unfair, okay? But Canelo Alvarez will be fighting Bivol. David Benavidez wouldn't be fighting Canelo Alvarez next. But what a savage. I want to say this too. Anybody who's complaining about Caleb Plant losing last night, whatever you guys have to say, Caleb Plant isn't making no excuses. Did you guys see his tweet early this morning? Great sportsmanship by Caleb Plant. Being a true warrior, sounding like a true warrior, and getting his respect from David Benavidez in the ring, and vice versa. And I'm going to end by saying this. I think people need to fight more and shoot less.
Fight more, shoot less.
Fight more and shoot less. And I'm talking about in the streets. Because I know a lot of people don't want to take a loss and afraid of taking a loss. That's why everybody go for undefeated. Whoa, because they're projecting, because they can't handle a loss. They can't handle a tough fight. They can't handle a tough life. But what you're going to have to do, fight more, shoot less. Now, I'm talking about those kids out there, because you can live another day and you'll live with more respect, and even your your enemy, can end up being your friend. You get a lot of respect there. All right, showbiz, little dope. Look at David Benavidez and Caleb Plant. Their families were involved, and they hugged it out afterwards. All right, what a classic fight. Shout out to David Benavidez for the win. Shout out to Caleb Plant for being inspirational and being a tough guy that he is. And shout out to PBC for an extremely great card. And Top Rank for Richard Comey and Ramirez. That was extremely entertaining. And I'm out. Huh?